Hi guys! So today I'll be doing an overview and comparison of some Asian drama subscription streaming sites. Now you can watch Asian dramas for free on most of these sites, which I'll go more into detail with each site. And there's lots of other sites as well that are free, although, you know, not necessarily quite legal streaming sites you can watch stuff on. And you can also download torrents. But these are the paid subscription streaming sites that I have personally used, either through a 30-day free trial or I currently pay for them. So all these sites I have used for at least a month. And I've been watching Asian dramas and using most of these sites, except for some of the newer ones, since early 2012. So I have some experience with them. And like I'll just say this ahead of time, I wasn't paid to do this. These sites don't even know I'm doing this. I just know that when I first got into dramas, I found it a little difficult at first to find where to watch them. And people have kind of different needs of what they want. So I'm just going to go over the sites and kind of how much they each cost, the types of dramas that are on them, things like that. Because like I said, this is stuff that I didn't know and I had trouble with at first when I first got into dramas. And I will say beforehand that most of these sites, while a few of them have some Japanese dramas, most of these sites do not have very many Japanese dramas. To watch the majority of Japanese dramas, you will have to go to the, you know, not super legal sites or download torrents. Just because I find that finding Japanese dramas subbed is harder than any other type of drama. And I'm not quite sure what that is. I've heard differing reasons why from different people, but yeah. So right off the bat, I'll tell you if these sites have it, but most of these sites do not have many Japanese dramas. So now for each site, I will be going over how much the site costs per month, some little things I noticed about the site, exactly, or how many approximately of Korean dramas, Japanese dramas, Taiwanese, Chinese, Hong Kong, and Thai they each have, because those are the only countries' dramas that I watch currently and that I noticed that are actually on these sites. And I will tell you if you can still use the site without a subscription, and if you can use the site on your devices, and the social aspects of each site. So the first site is the site that I have the most experience with. I've been using it since 2006, and that is Netflix. And Netflix is also the first site that I discovered Asian dramas and started watching them in early 2012. Netflix is $7.99 per month, and it might be a little more depending on the taxes where you live. Another disclaimer, I'm only viewing all these sites from my point of view, my perspective, which is being in America. So I'm not sure how these all work with different countries. This is just for American viewers that are interested in dramas. So I don't really have experience with watching them from other countries. But the first drama I watched was Boys Over Flowers, or Boys Before Flowers. And after that, I proceeded to watch most of the dramas that Netflix had at the time on their site. And Netflix is the only site that I'm going to discuss that you cannot use without a subscription. So they do offer usually a free 30-day trial and then you have to pay. But if you do not pay for the subscription or get the free trial, you cannot use the site or watch it on any other devices. So Korean dramas, like I was saying, they used to have a ton more. And since, I would say probably last year sometime, early last year, they got rid of a lot of them. So now they only have about 20, and they do have some staples like Boys Over Flowers, Secret Garden, You're Beautiful, but they have gotten rid of a lot. So I think Netflix is a good place to start if you want to get into Asian dramas, just because a lot of people already have and use Netflix, so it's kind of just easy if you already have it. But it's definitely not my pick for a site to primarily use for drama watching, because there's not a huge selection. And I feel with the way it's going, they're probably not going to have any dramas in the next year. So, but currently they have 20 dramas, Korean dramas. Korean films, they have about 99, less than 100. And they have a lot of popular Korean films as well. Japanese dramas, they have none, but they have 80 Japanese movies. Taiwanese dramas, they have 6. And they don't really differentiate between Chinese or mainland China, Taiwanese, and Hong Kong movies. They just kind of all put them into Chinese. So the total of all those countries is 139 movies on Netflix currently. No Hong Kong dramas, no Chinese dramas, no Thai dramas, but they do have about 10 Thai films. And the social aspect of using Netflix is that you can write reviews on the shows and movies, and you can share what you watch on Facebook, but that's about it. Netflix used to have a really great, it was kind of what it was like a Friends thing, where you could like befriend people and see what they were watching and like send each other messages and all this stuff, and they got rid of that a long time ago, and I'm still mad about that, and I'll probably be mad about that for the rest of my life because that was such a great feature and such an awesome like community thing, and I still don't know why they got rid of it, but that's beside the point. But anyway, yes, Netflix, $8 a month. It has a decent amount of Korean dramas. Well, not decent. It's not that great. It's only 20. But it has a lot of Asian films, so that's good. But like I said, it's one that most people have already, so it'll be easy to start there. The next site is Hulu. Hulu is also $8 a month. Hulu was the second site that I started using after I kind of exhausted the drama selection on Netflix at the time. And this is where I watched dramas like Coffee Prince and Wild Romance. Now, Hulu you can watch Hulu without a subscription on your laptop, but you cannot watch Hulu on your devices or like through your Roku or on your iPod, iPad, whatever, unless you have a subscription. But they have a huge selection of Korean dramas, and about 300 plus, and I did try to count these because I wanted to be pretty thorough. So 300 plus dramas, which is fantastic and probably better than every other site I'm going to mention. And they have about 198 Korean films, so almost 200. Again, great selection. They have 15 Japanese dramas, which is decent. 300 plus Japanese films, and most of these are older Japanese films, but still really cool. Like, a lot of Japanese films. And again, Hulu, like Netflix, does not differentiate between mainland China, Hong Kong, and Taiwan. So they kind of have them all mixed together under Chinese. But they have about 27 of those dramas. Like I said, those 3 under one umbrella. 27. And 52 movies under the same umbrella of Chinese. Because that's the language that they speak. They don't have any Thai dramas, but I did find 3 Thai movies, and that's for Hulu. And the only thing I will say is if I would probably just use Hulu and probably just use one of the other sites, nothing else, if Hulu didn't have commercials. I hate having to watch commercials so much. I haven't watched cable television in years. I've just watched stuff online. Not only because of the stuff I watch is only online, but I just hate watching commercials. And Hulu makes you watch commercials even if you pay for it, and that still just annoys me so much. And I know they have to do that for some of their content, but it's just a pain. I would pay extra if Hulu did not make me watch commercials. But yes, they have one of the biggest selections of the sites that I'm going to go through in regards to Korean dramas and films. And the social aspect, you can comment on movies and episodes and share what you're watching on Facebook. You can have a profile and upload your picture, and that's about it. And share what you're watching on Facebook and Twitter. So that's Hulu. So next we get to the sites that are only for Asian dramas. They're not for other things. Netflix and Hulu, of course, have American shows and things like that. But these sites that I'm going to talk about next are just strictly Asian dramas or Asian movies. So the first one and most well known is probably DramaFever. And this is the most expensive subscription site at $10 a month. And you can watch DramaFever without paying for a subscription. You'll just have to watch the commercials. But you can watch it on your laptop, on your, it's available on the Roku because that's what I have for my TV. And I can watch it on my Kindle, my iPod, and things like that. So, drama count. There's 200 plus Korean dramas. A really good selection. Not quite as extensive as Hulu's, but really, really good. 60 plus Korean films. 24 Japanese dramas. 0 Japanese movies. When I tried to look specifically for Chinese and Taiwanese films, there was a lot of overlap, so I decided to just count them all together because there was just a lot of overlap. Whether you looked up Chinese or Taiwanese, a lot of the same titles were coming up. And although I could go to like my drama list and look up each one to see what they actually were, I just decided to put them all together to save some time. So Chinese and Taiwanese dramas, there's about 40 plus. Movies, Chinese, Taiwanese, there's about 5. No Hong Kong dramas, no Thai dramas, no Thai movies. The social aspect of DramaFever, you can comment on episodes, shows, you can write reviews. They also have a news on the page. You can go to a news section which has a lot of articles that you can also comment on and share. You can share what you watch on Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. You can make a profile. You can fan other people's profiles. And yeah, so that's a little bit more social than the previous other 2 sites that we discussed. DramaFever's good. Like I said, it's just the most expensive paid subscription one that we're going to talk about. Now, going from the most expensive to the least expensive is Viki. Viki is $3.99 per month, and it's called the Viki Pass, and they just came out with this when did they come out with this? It was either late last year or early last year or late 2013. I think it was early last year because it used to be free. But they came out with Viki Plus, which is just $3.99 per month, and you don't have to watch commercials. You can still use the site, you'll just have to watch commercials, like most the other ones we're going to talk about. And Viki, I can watch Viki on my iPod and my Kindle, but I cannot watch it on my Roku. So, out of all these subscription sites, Viki is my favorite. And I'll go into that in a little bit. Now, before I get started with the Viki count that I did, which I counted all the titles that they had. Now, just because there's a title and a picture for the series or the movie does not mean that, 1, there's anything uploaded to it, or that the complete series is uploaded, or 2, that it's all subbed. A lot of these might be partially subbed or not subbed at all. So I just kind of, again, that would have taken a lot of work to see which ones were subbed or which ones were complete. And I think I'll do that soon in a blog post I'll link below. I'll get take some time and be a little thorough and update a blog post. But yeah, I just went through counting the titles that were in each category. I didn't necessarily check to see that because they do have a lot of titles, but just keep in mind to check before you start watching something to make sure that the whole series is uploaded and then it's all subbed. Because I have had that mistake before, starting a series that I was into and then finding out it's not subbed, it hasn't been subbed in a while, and it's kind of a dropped project or it's just going to take longer. So, yeah. Korean dramas, 200 plus. Korean films, 40 plus. Japanese dramas, 15. Japanese movies, about 20. Taiwanese dramas, 200 about. Taiwanese movies, 30. Chinese dramas, 300. A lot of Chinese dramas. But like I said, doesn't mean they're all subbed. I would venture to say, because I haven't checked yet, but I would probably venture to say that maybe half of those have actually been subbed. Hong Kong dramas, 3. Hong Kong movies, 20. Thai dramas, 300. Viki has the most Thai dramas of any site. And Thai dramas are a little harder to find. Not as hard to find subbed as Japanese dramas, but they're not as hard to find as Japanese dramas because I have found a lot of Thai dramas that have been subbed on YouTube and places like that. But yeah, huge selection of Thai dramas, which I'm just starting to get into. I've only watched a few so far. But there's 300, but again, I'd be willing to guess that less than half of that is subbed. And Thai movies, 80. But again, not all of them are probably subbed. So, out of all these two sites, Viki has the most social interaction. There's a community with forums. There's lots of commentary. You can comment on the episodes, things like that, the shows. You can make a profile and, you know, describe whatever. You can have a favorites list. You can also, this really cool thing, which is my favorite part about Viki, it's called the one-liners. And when you're watching a drama episode on Viki, you can either have the commentary on and it's like goes across the top of the screen, or you can turn it off. Now, I always usually leave it on unless the commentary is bothering me. The only time I've turned the commentary off in the over 2 years I've been watching using Viki is when I was watching Reply 1994, because the commentary is usually really funny and helps me get through like really draggy dramas or whatnot, or like, you know, slow parts. But on Reply 1994, all the commentary was girls arguing over the male lead and the second male lead. And it got so tiresome that I turned off the commentary for the first time ever. But usually it stays on because it's funny, and I don't know, it's just like a real fun interaction. You can comment as well. It used to be that the people that segmented or subbed the dramas did those one-liners, but not anybody can do it. And that's another thing. If you, Viki's kind of like a people's, fans and just regular people are the ones subbing and segmenting the dramas and movies. And if you do that, you can use Viki for free. Viki, the monthly subscription is for people that don't sub or segment the dramas. So yeah, you can do that and just use it for free if you wanted to, which is nice. And again, you can share what you're watching on social media, just like most of the other sites. And Viki probably has the fastest subbing of any of these sites as well. I generally check there first to see if something's subbed yet. And they have it subbed, I would say within 24 to 48 hours it's subbed on Viki. So that's really awesome. They have a large selection of like old and new dramas. And the only thing is sometimes they don't get the licenses for certain dramas. Because I find that with DramaFever and Viki there's kind of a fight sometimes. Because sometimes DramaFever will get a license for a drama and Viki won't get it. And then Viki will get a license and DramaFever won't get it. So there's that. But yeah, usually DramaFever or Viki will have it subbed pretty quickly. But Viki's quicker. And the last and the newest site that I'm going to discuss is called, it's part of the Soompi, I think that's what it's, Soompi? Drama news, or Asian news, like K-pop drama news site. And it's called tv.soompi. And it used to be K-drama. Now this is a bit of a little history of it. Crunchyroll, which is mostly anime, also had dramas on their site. Then they made another site to put all their dramas, and they called it kdrama.com. kdrama.net. And I signed up for kdrama.net for a 30-day trial, which actually they gave me like 2 months free, which was cool. And then I think they sold or just, just combined with Soompi, and now it's tv.soompi. So I think that's Soompi. It's I never try to say that word, Soompi. I don't know. I might be saying that totally wrong. But it's the cheapest besides Viki. It's $6.95, so it's about $7. They have like popular staples like Boys Over Flowers, Samsung, things like that. But they're missing some of the other ones like You're Beautiful, My Girlfriend is a Gumio. Those are not on this site. And also because K-drama, tv.soompi used to be part of K-drama, which used to be part of Crunchyroll, you'll find it on like your devices. Like you can watch it on your iPod, Kindle, all those type of things. Now it's still, like I said, it's still relatively new, so it's probably going to change more and more as time progresses. Like get more dramas, change the site a little bit, but this is just what it is now, and that's what I'm commenting on. It has almost 200 dramas, about 190 plus K-dramas, 40 Korean movies, 1 Japanese drama, no Japanese movies, no Taiwanese, Chinese, Hong Kong, or Thai dramas or movies. So just Korean mostly on this, and then one Japanese drama. Which, like I said, makes sense because it used to be called kdrama.net, so I didn't expect it to have a lot of other countries, but that might change in the future because it has changed its name. Social, you can basically just share what you watched on Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, Google+, and you can comment on the show. And because it's on Soompi, it's attached to the site, so you can go into the news section and access the forums and all that type of thing. So there is a pretty decent amount of social interaction, but it's not on tv.soompi itself. You have to go to the Soompi website, which is attached to. And like I said, it has older dramas. It has newer and older, but it has older. And actually, I've watched a drama on tv.soompi that I couldn't find anywhere else, not even on free sites or like torrents or anything. So that's pretty cool. It's, like I said, it's currently lacking some of the more popular ones. Another thing I found too is that some of the dramas are listed under names that they're not widely known as. A few of the dramas I was like looked up and I was like, oh, it's under this really odd name that's not what it's commonly known as. So some of the dramas are a little harder to find, or if you're looking for one, you can't find it because it's under a different name. And also, I have this problem too with DramaFever, but the movies are not separated. You go to shows and it shows the shows and the movies. It's kind of hard to just find the movies. You kind of have to just go through, and if you hover your mouse over the picture, it'll tell you if it's a movie or a show. So those are all the paid subscription drama sites that I have used, and I think the only ones that are available. Now, so those are the Asian film streaming subscription sites that I have used, and my thoughts on them, and kind of what each of them has to offer. And like I'll say again, you can watch dramas on, like, other free sites that are kind of, I don't like to name them just because a lot of them have closed down over the years if they get too much attention online, and I really rely on those sources to watch certain dramas, like Japanese ones. And also you can download torrents. But the two main reasons that I like to actually pay to watch dramas are, number one, if not counting torrents, but for the other free sites, usually the dramas are in multiple parts, and you have to load up the part, and there's lots of pop-ups on most of the sites I visited, and there are, like, you still have to watch an ad every time you open. Usually a drama episode is in 3 parts. A movie can be in like 6 parts. You have to watch a couple ads for each part, and there's pop-ups and all types of things like that. So that can be annoying. And also, I like to show support for Asian dramas and films. I feel like paying for, especially like DramaFever and certain things like that, it's showing that Americans want to watch Asian dramas and films, so that way in the future we'll be more likely to get licenses for those things. And things like KCON, and maybe it'll just get more mainstream if we show enough support that people in America want those things and enjoy those things. So those are my two main reasons that I do still use and pay for some of these sites. Now, my final thoughts, like I've already said, Viki is my favorite, and that's the one I recommend over everything else just because of the price. You can't, like I said, Viki, you can't watch on the Roku or like stuff like that. You can't watch it on your mobile devices and on your laptop. But it's a good price. The subbing's really fast. I really like the social interaction on the site. It has a lot of dramas and movies from most, except Japan, but for most of the countries that I watch it has, so that's great. And yeah, I just really love the site, and I've used it for a long time. So that's my number 1 pick. Secondly, it's kind of tied between DramaFever and Hulu. Hulu, like I said, it has such a vast amount of dramas and other things. I think it's also, it's $8, so it's not too bad. It just has such a good collection of things to watch. But like I said, the commercials can be a bit annoying. I find them annoying. But overall, I think Hulu is a great site to watch them. And plus, a lot of people already use Hulu like Netflix anyway. So Hulu is my second pick, along with DramaFever. Which, DramaFever is a little more expensive. But again, the social interactions there, and they have a really, really nice collection and selection of Korean dramas. Thirdly, I would have to go with TV.Soompi. It's a newer one, so it still has room to grow and expand and change up its site and add more dramas. But it is a good price for, per month for it. And like I said, it doesn't have a lot of other things besides Korean. But if you're really into Korean dramas, there's a really large selection and it's a good price. And lastly would be Netflix, just because like I said, I don't think there will even be any dramas in another year just because they've gotten rid of so many of them. But there are a lot of Asian films if you're into that. So again, and most people already have Netflix or use Netflix. And if you have any other questions that I didn't answer or anything else you would like to know, feel free to message me or post a comment below. And check back at the blog post because I will update that with more information to make it a bit more thorough. So that was my overview and comparison, and as always, thank you so much for watching. Bye.